made notes because I feel like that the words are important. I'll start with just, again, my absolute gratefulness to the team and to the Berlinale. I think I've been impressed by all the work I've seen. It's clear to me that there's a deep humanism to it, and that's profoundly important at this time. But I also would say that I do think we all know that there are some things that are important, and that are more important than films, right? And so I want to start with just a brief little personal story, and then change it a bit. In 2009, I traveled to Gaza, and I went there as part of a humanitarian venture attempting to bring aid across the border from Egypt at the Rafah crossing in the aftermath of the 2008 war, which was a much lower and smaller scale. That's a whole other story that I'm not going to share with you, but I think there's a couple of details that are relevant, which is that the primary aid that we were bringing were used vehicles that we raised money to purchase because we were trying to replace all of the ambulances that had been targeted and destroyed in the bombing. And then the second aspect was that we were bringing in tiny prosthetic limbs. I'll also tell you that we didn't succeed in bringing the aid in because the Egyptian authorities seized it. So that was my trip to Gaza. And ever since that time in Gaza, I've thought of Gaza basically every single day. It had a very profound effect on me. And in the last few months, that thinking has moved from a place of daily thoughts to obsessive thoughts as I think about a couple of things that by any objective measure, the civilians of Gaza are being subjected to the worst atrocity against civilians in the 21st century. Okay. And I feel like it's important for me to recognize as an American that the U.S. is coordinating that it is a partner in what is unfolding, that it is literally providing the weapons. And that makes me deeply ashamed. And so when I got into the Berlinale, there has been much debate about what should we do, what is to be done, should we withdraw our films over this issue? And several people who I have great respect for chose to withdraw their films. And I have absolute solidarity with their decision making. But I felt that that I wanted to be a principled presence as opposed to a principled absence. And I felt that there was a different way to approach it. And I was really struck by the statement that was made last week by the festival workers and some of the specifics. And I just wanted to read one thing that I thought was significant. And it said, while we acknowledge isolated and minor attempts to create space for exchange, we would expect the program of this year's festival to engage more actively and discursively with the urgency and reality of the moment by holding dialogue spaces of its own initiative and design in the big houses, which we call cinemas. Instead, we witness no initiatives that invite professionals and/or audiences into a dedicated space of discussion structured in a way that allows for a lengthy encounter between everyone. Well, here we are. This is the last Q&A for encounters. And that word struck me as relevant. And so this may be a very, very small scale, and it certainly isn't as much as might be done, but I think it's a relevant gesture at this moment. So I'd like to try to enact that on a very modest scale right now, if I might. And so I would like to invite Fidea up to the stage. And just a simple introduction that she is a woman who was originally from Gaza, and she just wanted to share some things with you. And I'm going to hand the mic over to her.
Thank you. I'm trying to control my emotions. I came prepared with a few sentences, but I don't know, I'm never prepared in such situations. And I'm very emotional when you mentioned that you were on the other side of the border in 2008, 2009, while I was in Gaza in the far north under the bombs, and knowing that you were trying to get aid inside for us. So thank you for giving me this space today. I prepared a few things. I wrote a few things. Usually I don't write things down. I just improvise. But lately I feel like I'm losing my mind. I'm really losing my mind. I feel like just like I had two brain cells functioning, and I don't think they are functioning anymore. In the past 5 months, it's been very hard. So yes, I'm from Gaza. I grew up in Gaza. under its sky, near its sea. I played hide and seek in our garden with my cousins, among the trees, waking up smelling the wind, listening to the birds. And what I've been lately experiencing is just getting flashbacks of my childhood that I never knew they existed. I thought they are just buried deep down, that maybe they never happened. But I had been experiencing those dreams, nightmares of things that really happened, but my memory somehow is trying to save what's left, reminding me that I had something there. I had life there. Life that does not exist anymore, because there is like erasure happening of memories, of people, of stones, of trees, of families, of school. And when I think about Gaza, I think about the city, I think about a home. What makes a home if it's not our memories? What makes a home if it's not me waking up to the sounds of my neighbors laughing or screaming or crying, or just children playing in the neighborhood? It's all gone. Even the only cinema in Gaza is gone. The biggest cultural center in Gaza is gone for fun, filmed, broadcasted live. And I've been thinking that that scene with the children walking got me very, very emotional, thinking about you saying maybe you inflicted kind of trauma on them. And I'm thinking about the children in Gaza. Aren't they enough children for the world? Don't they deserve empathy and solidarity? Aren't Gaza's women also enough women for the feminist organizations in Europe to receive love and support? Aren't the elderly people in Gaza deserving of care? Aren't the men in Gaza deserving of life and dignity? And I think why it's okay that our bodies are violated, our houses are bombed, our trees are uprooted, our babies are starving, our sisters, mothers, friends giving birth in tents with no medical care, our children undergoing surgery without anesthesia. Why is a doctor have to do an amputation of his daughter on a kitchen table while the hospital he used to work in is just 500 meters away? Why pregnant women giving birth to dead babies because they haven't been eating or drinking any drinkable water? Hospitals are bombed. There's only one hospital now functioning in Gaza. Bakeries are bombed systematically since October. No functioning bakeries in Gaza. No bread, no medication. That's a war on life, on all shapes and forms of life. Even the dead cannot have graves. I wish people have graves nowadays in Gaza. Actually, they are lucky if they can find the bodies of their loved ones. My cousin lost his daughter, she's 3 years old, and he couldn't find something. I mean, how is it okay that the aid trucks couldn't make it in 2009, and today it's the same story? And we hear over and over empty words about, we are doing our best to let aid trucks, it's good to let aid trucks, but please, address the root issue of that. Why is the border closed in the first place? Why do we need to ask for permission to let food and water for people who are starving and getting bombed? Is it does people feel good about themselves if people are not hungry while being bombed? Maybe stop the bombs first. How is it okay that the children in northern Gaza, the videos that came 2 days ago, are collecting flour from the floor to make bread, flour that is mixed with blood because the truck aids are bombed, mixed with soil? This is not something that people can eat. This is inhumane. People in the north of Gaza are starving, and it's a political decision, using starvation as a weapon. I don't know how many war crimes can we count. Why I had actually to look for pictures and names of my niece and nephew. I had my niece and nephew in Gaza. Now, we managed to get them out, 10 and 5 years old. Because there is a blackout, we cannot call them. I had to open three 4 tabs looking at different news channels broadcasting from hospitals at the time to make sure that the bodies of my niece and nephew are not coming out from one of those ambulances. And sometimes if they cannot manage to broadcast, I was waiting for the list of names, and you have no idea how hard it is to go over hundreds of names of children just to see that my niece and nephew are not among them. And that's one story. But I go back to something like spontaneous. The last 2 weeks were very hard, and I stopped engaging a little bit with the news and things because of this girl, 5-year-old Hind, who broadcasted live, recording from an ambulance, that she says, "Mommy, I'm scared, it's getting dark, the tank is approaching, please someone come and get me." And the Palestinian Red Cross or Red Crescent were with Hind on the phone for 3 hours. 3 hours. The location is located, shared with the Israeli army. They sent a rescue team. We had the hope that she is alive. And then, a few days ago, they found her dead in the car. And I was thinking, how is that possible? Silly me, very naive, I thought maybe if a 5-year-old says on the phone, "Hey, I'm alive and get me," it is one individual story. Maybe it is because it's an individual story, people will feel shame and the Israeli army will allow the ambulance to go get the girl because, hey, everyone is gonna see that. But even that was crossed. They didn't care. They didn't care. They killed Hind and they killed the ambulance team, Yusuf and Ahmed. And I don't know, here in Berlin, what do I say? Seeing all those demonstrations, women's demonstrations. I mean, you cannot be for women's rights while ignoring the pregnant women in Gaza. You cannot be against climate change while water is being poisoned, farmers are being killed, and the soil is being fed over and over with phosphorus bombs in Gaza. You cannot be against the right wing in Germany, but support the bombing in Gaza. Kicking protesters who are mostly migrants or with immigration background, or internationals who are against the bombing of Gaza from the anti-AfD demos and telling them that lady, dare to say, "Ihr macht unsere Demo kaputt." How is that different from us in the house? It's different ways, the same mentality. Or are we only welcome if we only submit to the German mainstream narrative? Actually, what differentiates the far right from other political parties if they all take the same political stance regarding Gaza, and I mean regarding a ceasefire, the least thing to do. Aren't we human enough for the world? Are we undeserving of life, to live in dignity, self-determination? But all what I hear, the fact that we failed to stop what's happening in Gaza, we are being told you are disposable, you are okay to exterminate. I don't know what can be done in Germany here. I mean, Germany and the US, the biggest military arms go to the Israeli army are coming from these countries. Actually, the arms sales to Israel not even doubled or tripled. There are 10 times since October, just tank shells going to the Israeli army from Germany and other parts from the US. The media spreading propaganda to justify the atrocities, the dehumanization in German media every day, criminalization of pro-Palestinian rights voices, police brutality. What time are we living in Germany? I don't dare to step a foot in one of those demos. Just they are waiting out there to smash someone's head to the floor. This is, I feel bad for the oppositions who fled their countries, the dictatorship of Sisi, to just come here and be brutalized by the German authorities. Bans defunding of cultural centers like Loyun Center for hosting the Jewish Voice for Peace. All what we ask for to stop the dehumanization, stop the arm deals, lift the siege on Gaza, let Gaza live, demand a ceasefire. A ceasefire on its own, it's not enough. It would have been enough a few months ago, but now, if the siege is not lifted, the ceasefire on its own, it's not enough. In the occupation, there is more than 30,000 people already killed, among them 14,000 kids. I don't even know where to start, where to end. I mean, you are either with the humanity or you are either with the killing machine. There are no gray zones, so please, you cannot just be silent in a time of a genocide.